somebody wants somebody to know something.
This is Tall Can Audio.
So, Deadpool. More like dead bid. Am I right? Huh? Anybody? Matt Robinson with you in our studios here in beautiful Bytown, Canada. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Tall Can Audio podcast. We're on social media at Tall Can Audio, and you can subscribe wherever you're hearing us right now. There will be plenty more gems like the one I just told you. But we find out on Thursday afternoon, right around 5 p.m., that Ryan Reynolds and the Remington Group are out on the bidding for the Ottawa Senators, not going to be moving forward. On May 15th is the date that final bids are due into the GSP Group in New York. That is the group that is handling the sale for the NHL and the Melnick sisters. The board here in Ottawa has turned control over that process over to this GSP Group, a group that handles these sorts of things across major professional sports. And it sort of feels like this has come out of nowhere. This is reported first by Emily Kaplan of ESPN, and Emily's pretty plugged in. She knows what's happening. And it sounds like the major sticking point that Ryan Reynolds and the Remington Group, that they're not happy about, is that they had requested a window of exclusivity to talk to the NCC and the city here in Ottawa about the land, right? About the new arena, how they might be able to put that together. No word on how long they were looking for that window to be, but they wanted the rest of this process to have the brakes kind of pumped while they had a chance to kind of go do their due diligence on that. And the GSP Group said, no, we're going to wait and see on Monday. All the bids will be due in, and we can see where everybody's at, what the numbers are at, and we can go from there. There's no real reason, to be fair, to give any one group a heads up of a couple days to go and get their own head start on the land before we find out what everybody's numbers are going to be, right? When everybody drops those bids on Monday. It's worth a shot if you have Ryan Reynolds in your back pocket and you know that that's the group that the city has kind of gotten excited about. You try and see if you can get that window, but there wasn't any really good reason for them to be given it. So they come out and they say, well, then we're out. And you should be interested in the timing here. To me, that's the most interesting thing to take away from this. The bids are due on Monday. If they were officially out, 100%, we're done, we're walking away, well, you just don't submit your bid on Monday. You put out a press release or a statement, whatever you want to do. Here's why we didn't move forward. We requested this window and we didn't get it, or we weren't sold on the real estate play, or whatever it might be. We just weren't going to go where some of the other numbers were going to be. It could be anything. But you don't have to do this now. You just let the clock run out, and that's that. You do it now to get somebody's attention, and we don't necessarily know who that is. Is this the whole group, Remington Group, saying, hey, we have been in this the longest. We have Ryan Reynolds here, which the city has been a buzz about for months now, and we demand a little more respect. We were one of the first big groups in on this, and we will walk away if we don't get what we want. Now, who might that message be sent to? Maybe it's being sent to GSP, right? Who is the group handling this, handling the finances, handling the bidding process, letting these people in to see the books on the Ottawa Senators, all that stuff. You know, maybe you're trying to rattle their cage. More likely, it's the league's cage you're rattling. The league would know roughly where this is at and that they would be in position to lose Ryan Reynolds. But now you've actually put it out there and said, hey, Gary, that thing, that celebrity thing that I bring to the table, the thing that I did with Wrexham, all of that could go away if you don't show me and my group a little bit more love. Maybe you're sending that message to other NHL owners who want this type of group with a little more celebrity, with a little more swagger. Maybe you want, as the owner of, could be anybody, right? Flyers, Bruins, Ducks, I have no idea. But you're telling the rest of the league, hey, we're walking away. And maybe you get a couple of them to pick up the phone and go, what are you doing? Whether they call the league office or call Gary directly or, you know, the president of the board or whoever it might be. You just go, this is a huge opportunity for the whole league to take a big step forward in terms of our profile. How can you be messing this up? So maybe you're trying to get their attention. And there is one other possibility. maybe the Remington Group really is done. They're out. But Ryan Reynolds isn't necessarily out. At the beginning of this process, if you go back, it started with him saying, actually on the Tonight Show, that he wants to buy the Ottawa Senators, but he needs a sugar mommy or a sugar daddy because it's very expensive. And at that time, we sort of all figured what happens here is the money guys, right? The bankers and the real estate guys and everybody, they come in, they'd make their bids, and then he kind of enters late in the process and, becomes the front man of the organization, right? He puts in $1 million, a couple $1 million, whatever it might be. The real money guys are behind the scenes. He's out in front. Maybe he's doing another Wrexham series. Maybe he's doing, publicity events around the organization. Maybe it's some other reality thing. Like, it could be anything, but you have Ryan Reynolds in the fold no matter who wins. And that was sort of, I think, the way most of us thought this was going to go, especially early on. And then out of nowhere, I think it was in February, he announces, actually, I'm not going to wait. I'm joining the Remington Group. And it was a brilliant stroke by the Remington Group to get him to do it, or at least it seemed so at the time. And that was, if this guy's going to be there anyway, and we really want the team, and we see how excited Ottawa is about having the idea of having Ryan Reynolds be part of the organization. If you remember, Reynolds showed up to a game around this time, was seen in the stands, honored on the big screen, gave the wave, all of that stuff. The Remington Group goes, let's just sign this guy up now. Let's offer him whatever we got to offer him, whatever he wants to do. Look, Ryan Reynolds was never going to be GM. He wasn't going to be the guy drafting people and making trades. But could he be some sort of other, president of community affairs? Or, maybe he wants some sort of communications thing, right? If he's going to be doing media stuff with the team online or whatever that may be, creating a series. Let's find out what Ryan Reynolds wants. Let's promise it to him. Let's work out the financials, and let's go back to the league now saying it's not just our solid bid. Our solid bid is tied to Ryan Reynolds, as opposed to Ryan Reynolds joining whoever at the last minute. And that was a really shrewd move by Remington. But if Remington is walking away now, is Ryan Reynolds the one who leaked this and is saying, hey, I'm out here. Come talk to me if you want to submit an offer, if you want to get me involved with your group. Now, there has been some reporting that he has said he didn't want to do that he was committed to the Remington Group. He didn't want to be just bouncing around later on, and that maybe that's a dignity thing, a self-respect thing, whatever it might be. But you say a lot of things when you're in the negotiations. If the Remington Group is really actually completely out and Reynolds wasn't the one who wanted to walk away, maybe he is still out there saying, somebody else could come court me if you want. I know Snoop. I could join the Snoop Group.
Snoop Group.
Snoop Group. Maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe this is just him who wants it out there, that our bid has fallen apart, my guys have walked away, but I'm still interested. So a couple of possibilities there. The other thing to think about here, and you guys who have listened to the show for a long time have heard me ask this and kind of get shut down every time. I asked this to Lever Sage when he was in. I asked this to Ian Mendez when he was in. I've asked this to a couple of different people when they were on the show. Are you worried that the celebrity of this is taking over what should be, the most stable ownership group? Are you going to see the league take simply the most money, or would they take less from a group that has the celebrity? And everyone is always kind of poo-pooed that idea that's become too tied to Ryan Reynolds and then Snoop, and now The Weeknd is involved. But here we are. You should see Sen's Twitter right now. You should see the text messages that were being read on air on TSN 1200 by our friends AJ Jackieback and Lever Sage between 5 and 6. People, for whatever reason, are devastated. They have gotten excited about Ryan Reynolds instead of getting excited about new ownership. Now, I think that's temporary. Most of these groups, if not all, right, when you look at it, this looks like it's going to end up in a good place, even if it's without Ryan Reynolds or without Snoop or without The Weeknd, okay? These are solid ownership groups that have big things in mind. It's not just the team. Some of them are talking about tearing down the Canadian Tire Centre, rebuilding out there and redeveloping that whole area. Sens fans might be a little nervous about that because they've heard that before. It didn't exactly develop the way that they thought it might. There are other groups saying that it doesn't have to be at Le Breton Flats. There are other spots in the city that maybe they could build an arena and still do the downtown nightlife thing. This is as much a real estate play as it is a hockey play. And so that means there's big money here. Big time investors. You look at the names that are out there, the Andlauer bid, the Kimmel bid. There's a couple different, the Tullio bid. They own my Oshawa Generals. Not sure whether that would stay a thing or not. But look, there are solid bids here that are interested in owning the team, making it the centerpiece of a big real estate play, and keeping it here in Ottawa. So no matter which group gets this, I'm confident the team is going to be in good shape. But they had their hearts set on Ryan Reynolds. And so you have created this disappointment where there never should have been any disappointment. This is all good news. This is all going to end in a good place. This is all going to end in a place where the Ottawa Senators are much more stable than they were in March of 2022. And I think if we had just gone through this process without the celebrity names attached to it, everyone would still feel that way. This is on the right path. The reason this is taking so long, which has also frustrated some of the, not just the Remington Group, but some of the other groups are frustrated this is taking so long. But the fact that it has taken this long has continued to drive the price up and up and up. People at first were talking about this as being a $650 million deal. And then somewhere or back around the new year, we started hearing numbers like 800 million. And I was scoffing at that, going, wow, okay, maybe that's just the price of doing business now. And 800 million is a distant memory now. It's basically well established that all of these groups are in the neighborhood of $1 billion as we sit here today. So if you think back, if you're a Senators fan, to March 2022, when Eugene Melnyk passes away and the wheels start to turn, what's going to happen next? You finish out the season. We start putting things together. Who's going to handle this? When are these groups going to start to see the books? Start hearing who some of the interested parties are, getting bids in, all these sorts of things. If you had all of that happen without one mention of the name Ryan Reynolds, Snoop Dogg, The Weeknd, whoever, you would still be ecstatic now at the path that this is on. It's gone so much better than you ever could have imagined. But then we started to sprinkle in the celebrity names, and that became crazy, right? Like, oh my God, can you believe Snoop Dogg is talking about the Ottawa Senators on First Take on ESPN? That you couldn't even imagine that. Ryan Reynolds is talking about the Ottawa Senators on The Tonight Show. And it just grew into this frenzied thing. And now, the tweets I'm seeing now are worst run franchise in the league, completely botched this. The NHL is a joke. I'm devastated. This has become a place for frustration where there never needed to be any frustration. Now, you can't control who gets involved, but hindsight being what it is, there is no question that this would have been better for Sens fans, if not for Ryan Reynolds and the Remington Group, if he stood back and said, I'm interested, but I'm just going to watch this play out and I'll step in, offer to buy a minority share with whoever the winner is, if they want me. And they would have wanted him. Any one of those groups would have said Ryan Reynolds is good for business and recognized that just the way the Remington Group did and brought him in, at the last minute when they were dotting the I's and crossing the T's. That would have been better. To sit here now and for 3, 4, 6 months, whatever it's been, to be talking about Ryan Reynolds and the Ottawa Senators. This is going to be amazing. And then poof, he's gone. And now people are upset. People are mad at the team, mad at the league, mad all over again. I've been warning about this for a little while now. The celebrity involvement and how that was going to complicate things. And everybody kind of shrugged me off. Little humble brag there. Maybe not so humble, but just saying, this stumbling block was always out there. But as I said a few minutes ago, I'm not convinced he's gone yet. There are 4 days until May 15th, and there is a reason that this information was leaked today. Like I said, maybe it's leaked by the Remington Group, trying to get Gary or the league's attention. Maybe it's leaked by Ryan Reynolds himself, trying to get the attention of the other groups to say, somebody call me. Maybe it's one of the other owners putting it out there saying our league is doing something stupid again. Maybe the media can put some pressure on them. I don't know. But I am not convinced that this is over. When something leaks like this and comes out, especially with timing like this, there is a reason. That is Media 101. Somebody wants somebody to know something. Somebody's not happy with how this has gone, and they're going to give it one last shot at rattling the cage before that deadline comes on Monday. So, just some thoughts there on everything that's gone on here over the last couple of hours. As the Remington Group and Ryan Reynolds say they are out. Could not get that exclusive window to negotiate with the city and with the NCC, so they say they're walking away. We'll see if that's true or not. Maddie Lang and I will be back on Friday night after the Leafs game as they try and stay alive. Stick around for that. And on Monday morning, Rob will be back on the show. That'll be the 8th anniversary of the Tall Can Audio podcast. I imagine he'll have thoughts on this Senators stuff as well. And, that will be the deadline day for those bids to come in. So maybe we'll know a little bit more by then. We'll see. But interesting couple days coming up. Interesting day today. So an impromptu podcast to talk about a little bit. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Google Pod, Spotify, Apple, wherever you are, hit the follow button. We'd love to keep you around. And we'd love to hear from you, what you guys think about all this stuff on our social media feeds at Tall Can Audio. Until next time, my name is Matt Robinson. Thank you so much for listening. Peace.
The hell is that?
Number one bullshit.
Why are you so pissy?